where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. She's a best-selling and award-winning author, TV contributor, two times TEDx speaker, and of course, a management consultant, none other than Ms. Marcy Axelrod.
Daniel, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, Ms. Marcy. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Oh goodness, more about myself. Well, I'd like to focus on who someone is instead of what they've done. Right? Yes, we are our actions, but we're so much deeper than that. We are the values and beliefs that we have about the world. We are how we choose to invest the moments of our time. So about myself, what I'd like to say is that I'm dedicating my life to helping the world understand what I believe to be the truth about how human beings are designed to show up. And the book explains, in essence, how nature has designed us, just like nature has designed everything that's out there. And we show up the same way. And when we understand that, we become happier and healthier, and we contribute to the world in a pro-social way. So that's what I would add.
Ms. Marcy Axelrod, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Hoping for more and more empowering showing up books to come. So tell us, we often reduce showing up to physical presence. What does it truly mean to show up mentally, emotionally, and energetically in a world full of distraction?
I really appreciate that you added physically, spiritually in a world filled with distraction. I love what you just did, Daniel. And if it's okay, I'd like to comment on it. First, you contextualized. We're in a world of distraction. We are in a world that pulls us to consume. We're in a world that pulls us to compete. We're in a world that pulls us to think about ourself, this capital S self as the entity of doing, when really we are designed to be interconnected selves. In my TED talk, I describe us as leaves on a single tree. So thank you for recognizing that showing up responds to our environment, right? As we're pulled to distract and to consume, and then it's spiritual, and that it's in our bodies as well. It's embodied, it's emotional, as well as cognitive. What I'd like to add to that, to your recognition of how holistic showing up is that there are two ways that we show up. One is in a control focus mode, grab it and get it. And it's a very narrow focus, and it makes life meaningless because it separates whatever we're doing and grabbing and getting from the rest of the world. The entire left hemisphere of our brain is designed for that type of attention. I like to use the word attending because we're
Okay.
always creating what's next. So attending. The other way of showing up is one that is interconnected with the flow of the world. The entire right hemisphere of our brain is designed to do that. And Daniel, this is the way that leads us to feel the meaning in life, the energy that's coming from the expression on your face, the beauty and awe that's out there. So really, we want to do more of that type of what I call truly showing up, which is being able to switch back and forth and use both attention systems, which is what Ian McGilchrist, the psychiatrist who lays all this out, is describes is how we're designed. That's how we're designed to truly show up.
Truly show up indeed. And how is showing up ultimately about closing the gap between our intentions
Uh-huh.
and action?
That's really a great question. Closing the gap. So there's a gap that you recognize, and you said between our actions and our intentions. Yeah. So our actions, and I'm going to group that because we don't just act, right? There's a thought, there's an emotion, and an action, and it's a triad, and it happens all together. So first, why is there a gap, right? Often our calendars with the schedule is over here, but our values of what's meaningful are over here, right?
Yes.
And the schedule of our actions, right, is really driven by what society tells us. You got to get up, you do these things. Maybe you get the kids to school, you go to work, you get stuff done, you're checking boxes. Um, I don't know that people need to be convinced that there's a gap, right? I think the mental health state of the world, the fact that, upwards of 50% of people are on SSRIs, there's massive depression, loneliness, all sorts of stress related disorders out there. People saying that it's okay to actually be violent toward others who hold different political views. I mean, this is not the way that we're designed to show up. So closing the gap with our intent is rooted in a few things that I'll describe. One is noticing. If you don't notice how you're showing up, then you can't tune into it and say, what's going to be the impact of this? Is this aligned? Like, how does it feel inside to show up the way that I am? So we have to notice, we have to tune in. And the moment we tune into something, we actually start to feel with it. And then we start to enact care if it's another person, if it's an idea. And that's when deep focus occurs. And that's when our body resets into a place of health and healing. Often we can feel our breath slow. We can feel our muscles relax. If we're standing, we may feel more weight on the soles of our feet. These are things that we will sense. So closing the gap, you can think about it abstractly in some kind of planning or readiness exercise. Here's how I am showing up. Here's how I want to show up. That's important. The book has a whole chapter on that called readiness. The other way of doing it is just stop for a minute and you notice, how am I showing up right here, right now, in this moment? And then bring choice. How do I want to show up? And if you want to show up differently, the way to truly presence in that open, connected way of attending that's driven by our right hemisphere, the first thing you have to do is reset your body and calm yourself. And you have to be real. This is huge. If you're feeling any version of judgment from others, if you're rushed, if you're exhausted, if you're hungry, if you are stressed that the boss has an opinion about what you're doing or someone else is judging you, it's very hard to move into that connected, holistic right hemisphere attention. So maybe the first thing that you do is you notice, I'm not feeling relaxed because someone else is judging me and I'm showing up in this needs to be seen as mode, or a lesser than imposter syndrome mode, or an I deserve mode, or an I'm better than mode. None of those are going to help you to truly show up. And I know that I'm saying a lot here, but really what I'm doing is, if you want to hear more, because you like to keep things to about 20 minutes, Daniel, please go to choosetoshow.up.com. There's a contact form. You can contact me. I'm writing a summary of the book right now. And of course the book is on Amazon. But I'm saying a lot here, but I'm going to pause. So those are some ways to bring your intent and your actions of showing up together. Did I answer that question, Daniel?
Indeed, Miss Marcy, is the capacity to show up consistently for other rooted first in ability to show up for ourselves? What
Mm.
does the self relationship look like?
Yeah, fabulous question. What does the self relationship look like? So in my book, I define two selves because most people feel like they just kind of grow up with this very cursory understanding. What is self? Do we even ask ourselves? You can think of it as this large S self and a small s self. Society teaches us The very small s. You're an ego walking around. You need to look a certain way, you need a title, you need a certain amount of money, you need a certain car. That's a very small s self. It's not how we're designed to be healthy and happy and to thrive. The larger S self is the self that Eastern contemplatives have known about, Buddhism. It's really the root of all religion, which is this flowing self that comes from nature, and you can say that nature is God, right? So I'm not talking about religion not being part of this, if that's something that's core to your life. But the big S self is interconnected within the flow of time, of space, and it feels deeply one with others. And the proof for this is so irrefutable. The fact, Daniel, you can just look at my face and you know what I'm feeling. You can look at a stranger for literally a portion of a second and you know what they feel. And Daniel, if you stay for another second looking at that person, your whole body will shift to incorporate what they feel. If they're stressed and rushed, you'll start to feel it. If they're staring into an infant's eyes, you'll feel that, right? That's just one example. The book has so many examples about how humans are designed to flow in an interconnected way. Think about when we lived back in nature thousands of years ago in the savannah. If all of a sudden a stranger walked out in the woods, the only reason we survived is because in a fraction of a second, our bodies registered friend or foe. Do we stand and smile with an open pose, welcoming them to try to, support them, learn from them? Or do we turn and run to tell our tribe there's a threat coming toward us, right? So the point is, our relationship with ourself is actually in relation with all the other selves that are out there, including the trees, including the water, including the ocean. There's a reason when you're near water, you feel relaxed. There's a reason that when you see the trees flow, you go, oh, okay. So this is the relationship with self. It defines self in a very broad way because we are nature. We are of nature, not just in it. And it defines us as interconnected with others. And so I'm very much hoping that I answered that question about how do we relate to the self.
Interconnected, for sure, Miss Marcy. And at the end of the day, is the legacy we leave simply the sum of all time we truly showed up for the people and cause that mattered? Miss Marcy?
Was there a question in that? I'm sorry, I didn't
Yes.
quite.
At the end of the day, is the legacy we leave
Yeah.
simply the sum of all the times we truly showed up
Oh,
for the people and cause that mattered?
so it's interesting. Is it the sum of it all? Yes, but it's so much more than than the sum of it all. It's every moment. Every moment, right? The rock falls into the pond and that ripple comes out. Every moment when you look at someone or not as you pass them by or in the elevator or when you're having a discussion. Are you eye to eye? Are you fidgeting? Is in the back of your mind what meeting you have coming up? Every moment is your legacy because you're changing that person. Do they feel felt by you or did they feel dismissed by you? Do they feel more like they're with an object when they're with you? So, Daniel, what are your thoughts on this? Like, when have you noticed that legacy showing up each moment?
Yes, legacy is something you're gonna build through the years as you exist on Earth. Just what like I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of podcasts. This will be my legacy, just like Miss Marcy is doing lots of Tech, TEDx shows, books, which is add up to the legacy to the world. And Miss Marcy, what is the biggest lie or misconception people believe about what makes to be someone who consistently show up?
What's the biggest lie?
Yes. What do
You
you
know,
think?
about someone who consistently shows up. I mean, it depends. I think a lot of people misunderstand success. I mean, there's meaningful life over here, and then there's classic success over here, and a lot of classically successful people are leading unhappy, meaningless lives. So I would consider that to be a lie. I mean, society teaches us that success is something that it's not. When the what I would consider success is having close, meaningful, healthy relationships, because that is proven to lead to a long, healthy life. That is how we impact others. So it's the quality of our relationships that lead to success. And society does lie to us about what success really is. So the more society shifts to register success as truly showing up, which is choosing the impact you want to have each moment and being able to engage using your body such that you have that impact, which is ideally to serve others. Then we will be lying to ourselves less about about truly showing up. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And Miss Marcy, tell us, what is the biggest lie or misconception people believe about something showing up consistently and then they figure out it to give up?
Yeah. So people have told me, they say, Marcy, I used to try so hard to show up, but it was a just showing up. It was a level 2, not a level 3. They would get there and they would have all their human doings type of stuff done. They will have read the memo, they will be prepared for the meeting, they were right. But really they're in this mode of not quite attending to what's happening. They would be distracted. They would be thinking about other things. They would be judging because they would have an agenda. And maybe the agenda seemed totally appropriate and on point, but in doing so, you're shutting off your ability to experience the fullness of everything below the surface. And that's the real conversation. The words are not the conversation. How someone feels about what's behind it, do they have concerns, but they're saying it anyway? So your ability to look at someone and say, like, Jeff or Janet, I'm hearing what you're saying about, the customers wanting us to make this change. I'm also sensing that there's some reservation there. Do you mind sharing with us the rest of what you know about this so that we can really make an informed choice? Right. So that is a far better way of showing up that gets around these, mistakes or lies, if you will, about what people think is truly showing up, but it's really just showing up, which is level 2, which is in get it done mode.
So, Miss Marcy, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast,
Absolutely.
because my Abstract Essay is already in fifth season, Abstract Poetry in second season, and my Book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my Food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my Baby Podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Marcy, if you could invite the audience to do one thing differently tomorrow to practice showing up, what would that be?
Yeah, the one thing that I recommend to people, Daniel, is to choose how they show up. So what I mean is, do you want to can, be connected more deeply with others and actually be able to sense what's going on, such that you're more likely to ask a question? And if you, as opposed to just getting through the day, if you do, I encourage you to just pause, notice how you're showing up, and switch into that more embodied, open mode, which is a relaxed body that enables you to use your right hemisphere's attention system and truly be with people. And you will notice the most extraordinary things. People are not saying what you've heard before. It will be novel, no more Groundhog Day. So just pause, reset your body, and notice. You're going to have to keep doing it because your mode's going to keep shifting, pulling you back into this doing mode. But just if you can, like as often as you can, just notice, oh, wow, I have to reset and truly show up. If you want to know more detail about how to do that and what's really going on, my book is there, or just use the contact page. Contact me from my website, choosetoshow.up.com.
Yes, and Miss Marcy Axelrod, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, your any projects that you're doing right now?
Thank you. I will. I'm doing a book signing in Rye, New York this weekend, Sunday, 10 a.m. So feel free to come there. And I'm also trying to finish a summary of the book. So for anyone who wants the summary, just use the contact page, and I can give you an early draft of that. So thank you.
Yes, people, support Miss Marcy Axelrod, because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering speaking to come, for sure, and more empowering advocacy to come. So more to come, people. See you soon.